Hello everybody, this is Hunter Hero, and this is my Crusadia deck profile, for whatever format we're in, the post-Rona, format, I guess. Um, yeah, I've been fiddling around with this deck for a little bit. I've been wanting to play it again, haven't really had a good reason to until, just making a profile for it, so, yeah, so we'll just get right into it. I like this deck a lot. Swing big numbers, a bunch of negates, silly shit. So let's get started. First off, we play our Crusadia package, which is 3 Max, 3 Draco, 3 Arborea, 3 Reclusia, and 3 Leonis. The reason that we're playing all these numbers is because Maximus over here, these are all our normal summons most of the time. You don't want to be normal summoning anything else. Maximus allows, I think, your guy to deal double piercing or attack multiple times. Yeah, so he doubles your battle damage with link monsters by activating its effect. He's really solid for the OTK, so if you're going second, he's the guy you want to end on, pointing to Equamax. Draco's used for guard dragons, everybody knows him by now. Fan favorite. Arborea is a Rhoda target. Yeah, you actually run Rhoda in this. Sorry for the discoloration, it's light coming through my window. I would turn on warmer lights, but whatever, I'm a little lazy. Reclusia is spot removal. When you summon to a zone like monster points to, you can target a Crusadia monster you control, and then a guy your opponent controls, and kill them. This doesn't target the other guy. It only targets the Crusadia card, and not the second target. It's just like a cubic wave, where it targets the first thing, and then the second thing is untargeted. And then Leonis, all he does is have a big booty and give piercing. That's the only reason you use him. He might be cut down. Maximus might be cut down, but the rest of these guys, they like at their current numbers. So that's it for our Crusadia package. Let's get over to the other stuff. For an extender, we're playing 3 copies of World Legacy World Crown. This thing just behaves like the rest of the Crusadias. They'll summon themselves to a zonal link monster points to. And then this thing, while it's on the board and your opponent summons something from the extra deck, you can tribute it, negate it, and then it has a tribute summon effect. It never comes up. I actually need to read what it does. Oh, yeah, you can add a World Legacy spell or trap card, so I guess you could search your successions or whatever the hell with this, but never comes up. But it's an extender. Fun stuff. The one of Red Eyes Darkness Metal. Everybody knows what he does. Good thing his errata hasn't come in yet. This guy would be a lot worse if it did. Then we have the Kaiju package. Going first or going second, it doesn't really matter. You guys run these guys for not only their disruption effects, but they're also just incredibly good guys to point to with your Equamax. So we got Gamseel, Dogaron, Kamungus, Thunder King, and Jizukiru. The reasons we run most of these is because, sure, the bigger guys are kind of bad, but depending on what turn order, you want to always end on Gamseel, being pointed to by your Equamax. He's your main negator. And then the rest of these are just kind of either tech choices or just monsters to summon in front of Equamax. So it doesn't matter that we're running these 2 big boys, because you'll just slap them in front of Equamax, and then you'll slap him in front of Equamax, and then Equamax get really big, and then you just chong over him, and then swing for game. The only other one I ever see myself using, even sometimes, is Thunder King, because he just makes everything spells before. Nobody can activate their effects on your turn. It does require 3 counters, and that's a pain in the ass. Damn thing's going out of focus. But fun stuff all around. So that's our Kaiju package. Now we're moving into the back row. First off, the spells. 2 Crusadia Power and 2 Testament. And so what do these do? So Crusadia Power does pretty much just makes your guys immune to other cards' effects. That's the only reason you're playing it. Essentially, when you summon Magius and you have this in your hand, you target him with this, and then just make it to where they can't they can't negate his effect because he's unaffected by other cards as effects. So, and then Crusadia Testament has 2 effects. You can only activate each. You can only activate 1 Crusadia Testament a turn, or else this thing would be super spammy. Definitely 3F. So the first bullet point says that your opponent can't chain. Essentially, makes all your Crusadia cards spell speed 4. And then the other effect is that if your Crusadia monster destroys something by battle, and you can, during the battle step, battle phase, or whatever the hell, you can activate this effect, and then you get to draw cards up to that monster's link rating. So, I think, does he count as a Crusadia? Yeah, using him, you can draw 4 cards. It's amazing. A lot of people don't know that this card does that. They mostly see it for its disruption. This thing's really good. Alrighty, that's it for the quick plays. We have the one of Crusadia Revival. This buffs off all your lake monsters and allows them to attack. This essentially turns your lake monsters. Goddamn, things keep going out of focus. Whoa, focus there. Okay, so this thing allows your Crusadia guys to, one of your Crusadia monsters to act like Ultimate Conductor, attacking all of your opponent's monsters. It gives them a tiny boost at that, but this also disables the rest of your monsters from attacking, so don't invest too hard. Essentially, you're using this to push your equal max for game. You're normally not searching this. It's just, it comes up occasionally. You run it as a one of. Alrighty, that's enough for the Crusadia stuff. Time for the not Crusadia stuff. We play 3 copies of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. This is something new I've been trying in the deck. This is absolutely ridiculous. So this is to help you go second or go first. It's really weird if you make it go first. If you open a Borea and you use this, you can just summon a Kaiju to both sides of the field for free. Just make sure that you summon Dogoran on your opponent's side of the field and the Gamma Seal on your half. Because Dogoran's not a quick effect, they can't use the Kaiju counters that you're playing on your 3 Kyoto. Which we might as well just put down here, because regardless, we're playing a big Kaiju package. You need those for the negates. But everybody knows what Kyoto does. But what you do is that... We'll set these aside for now. So what you do is, with these Kaiju Slumbers, is that if you open a Borea, she has an effect that you can banish her from the graveyard to protect your Crusadia guys. So you can use Kaiju Slumber to act as an artificial extender as long as you open up her. If not, you just use this going second or third. Use it to just destroy your opponent's board, summon Gam Seal, negate stuff, banish. It's wonderful. This thing has so many weird rulings though, so be careful about when you're playing it. But it's so good. Here's a card a lot of people haven't seen in a while, and that's Kyoto Waterfront. This is the Kaiju Field spell. This is the card you're searching a lot. You pretty much playing the Guard Dragon combo just to see this. So what this thing does is that every time a monster leaves the field, it gets a counter, up to 5. 5, what am I showing for? When it has 3 counters, you can just Rota any Kaiju you need to your hand, and then this is essentially just your main counter holder. When you set on Gam Seal, this thing just turns into stop playing the duel, you're bad, the card. Also, if it were to be destroyed, you can remove a counter from it. Doesn't come up because most people don't try to remove this, they cry because Gam Seal's on the board. Alright, so there's that. Then we got the one-ofs. Terraforming. Look for ya Kyoto, Rhoda, and Monster Reborn. Rhoda is to search for a Borea, so if you open this and Kaiju Slumber, you got Artificial Extender plus your Kaiju on board. Lots of fun stuff. Monster Reborn is just an Artificial Extender. I used to run, before I added the Kaiju Slumbers, I used to run Succession, so you could play Succession over these 2 cards. I personally prefer them, though. And then we have one of the back row Crusadia Crawler. This is what you're searching off Reclusia. This thing just adds a World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. Side decking, or if you want to, you can main deck this. Instead of World Crown, you could run World Lance, since it removes 3,000 attack points from something on the board. This thing can add that to your hand, so during your opponent's standby phase, you summon this guy to, like, Equal-Max. Equal-Max now has a negate, plus you get, Plus, you get to add the lance, and then the lance can just zilch out anything that's bigger than you equal max. And then if you do that, if you have Crusadia Vanguard, this thing makes it to where all your Link monsters must be the ones that your opponent's targets for attacks. And then you contribute a guy, summon a different guy from your deck, so it can activate, like, if you bricked or something and didn't end on optimal guys, you can summon a guy to your Link monster zone and just search more cards. And it also deck thins, so you can, if you're sitting on, like, Regulex and an Arborea. You contribute the Arborea, give that Regulex some protection, and then summon something like Maximus to give that thing enough attack to survive the next turn. You run it as a one of. It's searchable. That's the only reason you don't want to. You don't want to. This is probably out of the two trap cards. I would say that this one's the one you want to open, just because it makes all your guys lightning rods for your opponent's attack, but it doesn't really matter. You don't want to see them super duper often. Alright, so that's it for the main deck. So we're going to move over to the extra deck. It's pretty bland. 3 copies of Magius. This thing is ridiculous. It just requires a Crusadia monster, except for himself. And what he does is that if something's summoned to a zone he points to, you get to search for any Crusadia card. Normally you're searching Draco from this if you didn't already have one. Something you can do with him is you can chain block his effect if you summon Reclusia to the zone, as long as if you're going second. So what you do is you normal summon, link into this, and then summon Reclusia, chain link 1, and then chain link 2, so that immediately chain blocks, allowing the search to go through while you blow up a card on their side of the field. Pretty good stuff, and even if they don't, you still had the search from Magius, so good stuff. That's why he's 3F. We run 2 Sapathas. Really, the only reason you're running 2 is because the extra space isn't super duper tight. I'm running 2 because the second one does sometimes come up, especially if you need a comeback play. She's just a little bit bigger, so if you need to just chong over something, slapping something big under her, and then just slamming it into something. Also, she can draw you 2 cards with Testament, so important. 1 Regulex. This thing searches your back row. He is bigger than Sapatha, but his arrows are worse, and he doesn't move things. He doesn't do the Guard Dragon combo, so that's why you only run 1 of him. He doesn't come up very often. He does have that up arrow, though, so if you had no choice but to make him and then kaiju something, you just kaiju the zone he points to. He disables it from attacking, I think? Yeah. Yeah, so essentially, you just summon a kaiju to where he points. It can't attack you. Pretty good stuff. Then 2 copies of Equimax. The third one never comes up. Trust me, if you think it does, then play the third, I guess. But it's never come up for me. Don't think it's going to come up for you. He has the biggest body. You're essentially just OTKing with him all the time. Big Daddy OTK. His requirements is 2 effect monster, 2 plus effect monsters, including a Link monster, so this guy's super duper generic. He gains attack, stops guys from attacking. And then you contribute a Crusadia or World Legacy card that he points to, and negate a card on the field. So if there's a problem that your opponent summoned, like Danko Sega, I guess, you could Equimax, negate her effects, play your trap cards. That doesn't come up a whole hell of a lot, but it is nice to know that he has that, so if you open Crown or something, you can slap a Crown under him, make him really big, negate, have multiple variations of a negate. Fun stuff. Okay, Guard Dragons, you know what they do. Heretic Seal. He hasn't been seeing a whole lot of play, especially just because in the newer Master Rules, he has been kind of shit on. I love this boy. This boy's really good. You don't really have a designated target. You just summon Draco out of it. He's not super duper important, but it's nice to know that he's there. 2 copies of Saryuja. I was playing 3. The third one doesn't come up. You can, if you want, you could replace Vanguard with Pot of Avarice and just spin the other one back into the extra deck, draw some cards. just to make sure that you can make him. If you need to set up with your Gam Seal, you just summon it with his effect, so that way you don't have to kaiju something, especially if you're going first. You just use this thing to drag. You're just trying to get this thing to get your Kyoto with the first one, and then when you make the second one, your Kyoto will be full of enough counters to make Gamma Steel and walking like Negate Lord, and then you just summon it to like this zone here, and then you make Equamax. Alright, and then we have the two other Link 4s. Oral Sword. Swing game. In a deck built around swinging game, this thing swings game really, really hard. It doesn't matter. You have Equamax normally, though, but it does come up. And then the big Chungus himself, Crusadia Avermax. Having a big guy who's just unaffected by things is ridiculous, and the fact that he synergizes well your Crusadia cards, except he doesn't, stop them from doing things. He's just a 3k booty. You can make him do big number with Maximus and Leonis. It's just that he's not nearly as big as Equamax. He comes up more often than Sword, so try to make him more often, but yeah, that's really about it. This deck's super duper fun if you like swinging for game a whole lot. But really, I have had a lot of fun playing this deck. This is probably my biggest Link era deck that I played back in 4, and I think that even though the format's really rough for it, I'm sure you can do some fun stuff with it in this format. If you have any suggestions, you can drop them down in the comments, I guess. I'm making these for fun. I really like this deck, and if there's any suggestions you guys got, you can tell me down in the comments. I'm always looking for more decks to profile that I have on hand, but I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and I guess we'll just cut it off there. Bye-bye.